Welcome, everybody, and we are thrilled to have you tonight. This is the ECIS Women in Education virtual series focusing on mentoring. And the first thing I would like to do is to introduce our committee. And we have two members here, so I'm going to ask first Erin just to say hello and where you are and just, say something about yourself, which would be fabulous.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's really good to see you. We're excited to kick off this series on mentoring. My name is Erin Robinson, and I'm at Atlanta International School. I've got two roles here, Associate Head of School and Head of Secondary School.
Thank you, Erin. Let's give a virtual applause for Erin. Yay, Erin. And we have the most beautiful and big-hearted, lovely woman, Proserpina. Would you please introduce yourself and your role, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Proserpina Dlamini Fisher. I work for the International Baccalaureate, and I'm based in the UK at the moment, but my office is in The Hague. And I'm excited to be here. Everything for empowering us girls to move forward. I'm there always.
I am privileged to work with these wonderful people. And those who don't know, there are 12 special interest groups for ECIS, and we are one. And one of our main objectives is to provide these professional learning opportunities to unite based upon our passion, and which today is about mentoring and empowering women. So thank you for being here and also being part of this cohort. So we're really thrilled that you could join us. Well, just so you know, our virtual protocols for today, we're talking about connections, and I've already seen that this is some of your aspirations for today. So if you see someone, like you say, Erin, Proserpina, I really want to get to know you more, just ask for their email addresses. That's why we're here. The objective is connection. And also note on social media, on LinkedIn, you'll see that you can join us, follow ECIS, follow our group. And in terms of our engagement, we already have about 37. So if we get a big group, we're going to mute on the large when we're together. But in the smaller breakouts, we are going to have a half an hour breakouts. Put your screen on, because you know what? It's nice to see people's eyes when you talk to them. Looking at a black screen just isn't fun. Not fun at all. So we really want that. Think about equal voice, and any questions you can just put in the chat, please. So you're going to find in the chat a slide deck. And that slide deck is going to be used throughout this entire session. So please, I know Abby's already put it out there, but for those who join, they might not get it. I'm going to put it in again. You'll notice that with the slide deck, you can download it. And this is kind of like your summary of all the collective wisdom that we have, because somebody wrote, I want to learn more about mentoring. This is already a resource for you with all the links. So can you put a thumbs up if you're able to access it? That would help me to know that the settings. Thank you, Amy. Beatrice, okay, I see some people saying yes. Thank you, Erin. Jean, Karen, thank you so much. Kim, thank you. Janice, thank you. Heather, good to see you, honey. So really, we're trying to get one space where you can have all our thoughts from today in one slide deck, and I hope that will be useful. Anytime you see this icon, that means go to the slide deck. And this way, we don't have to keep on worrying about, oh, there's a link in the chat. There's a link in the chat. All the links are on that slide deck for you. So what are we going to discuss today is really the power of mentorship. And then we're going to be moving to what are really characteristics of an effective mentor. And then we'll be moving to some advice that you've received that you felt was helpful from a mentor. And lastly, how do I find a mentor? Now, one thing I want to note is, before we talk about where we begin, if you had to think about all the years of experience in this room right now. So right now, put the number of years that you've been in education or you worked in school. Everyone, put in right now in the chat. How many years have you been in education? Look at these numbers. Oh my goodness. I'll have to get a calculator. 35, 15, 22, 24, 31, 20. As you can tell, we have a lot of experience. So I won't be talking that much. You're going to have at least 30 minutes of breakout sessions to talk to one another, and also use that slide deck to really capture your thoughts of what we're talking about today. So let's really elevate the collective wisdom that's in this room today. So Before we start talking about mentoring, let's do some definitions. I was an English teacher for 24 years, so I got to do that definition thing. Common vocabulary is common understanding. So we're going to be looking at mentorship in terms of providing guidance and advice for decisions and gaining knowledge and new thinking. We want to differentiate that from coaching, which is more towards holistically on personal development, and then from sponsorship, which is usually someone who's looking at your career. Can these roles overlap, especially the mentor and the sponsorship? Yes. But we're really focusing on that mentorship for today. And the idea of when is it that we need mentorship? So you're all here, and right now I'm going to ask you, we have already 47 people here. This topic absolutely resonated with everyone. Why is mentorship so powerful? You must have had an experience that resonated with you. So you'll notice there is a yellow icon on this slide. Please go to the slide deck where you find the exact same slide and add your thoughts. And I'm going to stop talking for a minute. Just a moment of silence for you to add your thoughts. Why is mentorship so powerful? As I said, we're up to 47 people here. So this is a topic that touched our hearts as educators and as professionals. And let's see what your thoughts are. Oh, we already have 2. A quiet moment. Love the thoughts so far about inspiration. Support, we see already. Beautiful. Clarity about direction. Collaboration. Support seems to be repeated quite a bit. I'll give that one more minute because I think this is really powerful to get this mindset before we move on to the rest of our collaboration today. I like the idea of connection to others on a specific project. One more minute. Wisdom, I love that word. Oh, whoever wrote this, what a lovely analogy, shining a light on you. Isn't that just beautiful? The strengths and considerations for growth. What a lovely analogy. We'll see what else we can get. I'm going to keep this available for you to add your thoughts, but this also might be a rationale when we end this session about why schools need mentorship, and to refer to these thoughts when you are talking to someone at your school, the power of mentorship that you're able to get. So please keep on adding your thoughts. I think it's really important that we really look at your perspectives of mentorship. So please, you have the slide deck, even do it after the session, so we can just keep this going for our series going on now. So let's think of when or why someone might want to get a mentor. Well, it actually relates to the comments that you wrote. For example, the idea of growing a network, get some career advice, the idea of gaining a new perspective, and then also the idea of seeking a source of inspiration. I love the shining light analogy. And anything else you want to just put in the chat, please. But we're talking about the rationale of mentorship and really why you're here for today. So the one source of inspiration that I see is that as everybody in this room, for mentorship to happen, all of us in this room need to be champions. Champions for each other, champions for our network, champions for anyone around us. Yes, this is the Women in Education SIG group, but it's more than that. We're talking about professionals and the impact that we can make on others in a positive light, if I can use that phrase from what I just read on that Padlet. So being champions, what I love is the idea that being a champion, and everybody here, we're champions, because we want to promote greater inclusion and diversity. And this takes intentionality. It's not just going to happen. So if I was to say right now, raise your hand if your school has a formal mentoring program for your staff. On the count of 3, raise your hand. How many do we see? I see 1, 2. I see 1. Right now it's still 1. Okay, we're at 1. This is why you're here today. We're talking about that intentionality, to need to make that impact for the women of today and for future generations. So after this, I hope one takeaway is you will be a champion to support mentoring at your school. And you're wondering why? Go back to that Padlet with all those ideas of why mentoring is so powerful. So I want to start with a few stories. And these stories, I thought were just really inspirational of why mentoring makes such an impact. So these stories come from a TED Talk that took place in 2016. And the organization it's from Alan Green, something like that. I'm not sure of the exact organization, but their hashtag was Actually She Can. And you can look this up. And what was really powerful about this campaign is that it aimed to start a movement about important dialogue around women being empowered, celebrating every one of who we are, and also ambitions, and how do we support those ambitions in today's society. And through this hashtag, so if you would go on social media, you'll see that the campaign created a really powerful platform upon which women can explore their goals, as long as their wants and perspectives in a larger conversation. And it was all around female achievement and well-being, which I thought was also powerful was the group and the diversity of this group. So what we're going to do now is we're going to view a short video. It's about 4 minutes. But while you're doing it, what I would like you to do is get a piece of paper, everybody. You're going to get a piece of paper? Okay, find a piece of paper. I'll let you find a piece of paper. And while you're viewing the video, I want you to think of these 3 perspectives. First of all, what squared with you? So while you were viewing the video, what was something that aligned with your beliefs? 1 comment. Next was, what was something that you heard that you felt passionate about? You're like, yes, I agree to that. Yes, yes, yes. And the third is, what was a comment or maybe a word that you felt hit the point? So my paper looks like this. So while I'm watching the video, I'm going to be able to write. Or you might say, Nancy, I don't want to focus on passion. That's your choice. Because when we go out after the video, we're going to go to a breakout session and you're going to be sharing your thoughts. Are we thumbs up? Are we okay? Wonderful. Okay. So this is that 4-minute video that is from Actually She Can. And it shows the power of mentorship. So enjoy. I'm just going to make sure my volume is high enough for you. Are we ready? You have your papers ready. We're okay? Wonderful. Okay, let's begin.
I'm Maya Brahman. I'm Senior Communications Officer at the World Bank Group.
My name is Jackie Zahner, and I serve as Chief Engagement Officer of Women Moving Millions.
My name is Rachel Holbrook. I'm the Global Head of Production at Airbnb. Sarah Kunst, Founder and CEO of ProDay.
I'm Nancy Green. I'm the President of Athleta.
Well, I've had a series of mentors throughout my life, and whenever I encounter a problem, even to this day, I reach out and I use them as a sounding board.
So I started on Wall Street in the 1980s when there were so few women. Obviously, having a mentor was so incredibly important. You learned by doing, and you learned by people taking a special interest in you to show you the way. So I can't imagine having succeeded without many someones who took a specific interest in making sure that I could become the best professional I could be.
Mentorship has played such a huge role in my life, especially in the early years of right after you get out of school and when you're still in school and you're working and you kind of know what you want to be when you grow up, but you don't really know how to get there.
I had an incredible mentor. She was actually the only woman in the company at the time that had kids in our division, and I would have been the second. I wasn't sure how to really think about being a mom and having a career, which required a lot of travel. This very special woman really encouraged me to think about how I could do both.
A good mentor needs to have your best interests at heart, but they also have to be able to tell you where they think you might be going wrong.
You don't have to have all the answers to be a good mentor to someone. You just have to provide good support.
Authenticity, because there are lots of people that have lots of knowledge that are super smart, but to connect that, there has to be an authentic reason, and I would say even chemistry.
It starts with really genuinely caring about other people's development. Mentoring is not just about, holding somebody's hand to get through a challenging time. Sometimes you really have to challenge another person to step up into their potential. When women are looking for a mentor, I think it's very important that they look for somebody that they naturally gravitate to, because there's definitely a chemistry and certainly a relationship that needs to take place over, ideally many years.
It's not that it's one and done and you get one and they're going to be with you every second of the day or even for your whole career. Find someone who you do trust enough to share your insecurities with and vulnerabilities with.
All of us are looking for mentors all the time. This is a quest. If you're in search, as I am, sort of constantly, it's being mindful of what it is you're looking for at a particular moment.
Read poetry every day. Poetry is for when things are tough and things are difficult, and in a way it connects to your soul.
Trying to be my best self. And that is the most simplest of messages, but I think the hardest to receive.
Work really, really, really hard. And it's not about being a perfectionist, but what you find is a lot of times it can be a little bit tempting to kind of rest on your laurels.
I was on maternity leave and I didn't think I could come back and be able to have a great career and also be a mother. And the phone call and my mentor on the other side, she encouraged me to give it a try and to come back and understand what could be. So for me, the joy is watching somebody grow through that relationship and being able to see them really step up into what they now realize is something maybe bigger than they ever expected.
I hope you enjoyed that. So now we're going to go into a breakout room, and it's 15 minutes, a little bit longer, but I'd rather have, you ever go into a virtual session, like, okay, everyone, you have 4 minutes to talk to one another about your life. And you're like, 4 minutes? Each one of you have 30 seconds. No, we want 15 minutes for this. And it actually has 2 parts. The first part is, and notice there's an icon, so you have the slides, is what is the power of mentorship? You can refer back to the comments that people started sharing. Introduce yourselves. You might want to sign a timekeeper to ensure that everyone has equal voice, and do that for about 5 minutes. And then for the second part, and this is an open discussion, you're going to look at your comments that you wrote during the video, and then you will share your heart and your triangle and your square. If you want, you can record certain themes that were repeated, and you'll notice that each breakout room is assigned a slide. And when you look on your breakout room, you can see it on the top, and you assign a slide, and you can assign someone to be a recorder. But more important is not recording, it's the conversations. But at least you have parameters for this conversation based upon your heart. So the first 5 minutes, introduction, the power of mentorship. The last 10 minutes, you can change it any way you want. You have a total of 15 minutes with 4 in a room to have that conversation. So Abby, I'm going to stop sharing right now. And Abby, could you please put us in rooms of 4? And then for 15 minutes, please. And then you'll have a 1-minute countdown so you know to bring that discussion. You have all the directions on your slides, and you also have 1 slide per breakout room if you want to share some of your thoughts, because like I said, you can download the slide deck later and keep it as a resource. So Abby, are we ready? Wonderful.
Yep.
See you everybody in 15 minutes. Hello, hello. First of all, give a really nice shout out to your groups. You just had a lovely conversation, hopefully. In the chat, just say hello and say thank you. I just love the idea of, it's an NOG, a note of gratitude. And I think that's really important to acknowledge those conversations that you had. Let me share with you some that I saw, and I just added them directly to my, to the slides. And please imagine doing the same activity with people at your school, colleagues at your school, asking them what resonated with them. It'd be, I think, a really powerful experience. So here we have the idea of squares: trusting, mindful, authentic, caring, being watchful. To challenge you, would that hit the point, being the best professional? Then room 6 talked about the cheerleader. And again, the word authentic came up. And the idea of joy of watching someone grow. Isn't that beautiful? Learn by doing. And then we have the idea of a triangle. Make sure everyone, a sounding board, mother, Kara, needing to know who you are. So that's absolutely beautiful. I think I have 1 more in there. 8, again, we saw cheerleading, authentic, getting ideas out there. So thinking about, could we just think for a moment, somebody who was a mentor to you? You might have had several mentors in your life at different stages of your career. And think about, just get a moment of silent reflection of those different people that you might have had. Just 1 more minute to think about that individual. You know what's beautiful? I see a lot of people smiling right now. Isn't that gorgeous that when you think of an experience that you had with someone, all of a sudden you have this smile that comes across your face? I wanted to share with you just some of the mentors that I was fortunate to have, and I've had them at different points of my career. I think about when I first started facilitating, I had this wonderful woman named Pat Hanley. And it was the first time I facilitated. I was nervous, I was scared, and she was just, I used to have a script and I would memorize it before presenting. I was so nervous. And she's like, you have to be yourself, because normally you would not be talking like, hello, everybody. And now our objective is, and they were like, that's not you. You got to put your personality. And she says, get rid of your script. She's like, get rid of it. Be yourself. And I was like, okay, scared to death. Best person in the world. I had a director, my principal, Nikki Crush, a woman of wisdom. We were kind of like the yin yang. She went to Cambridge. She spoke very articulately when we were together, when we did. I know Eleanor knows her as well, and some other ISL, and Patricia. Very elegant. But when we presented, we were the yin yang, and we learned from each other. I think that's one thing about mentorship. It is a reciprocal learning experience. So she was poised and articulate. And I was kind of like, whoop, and she would look at me, and we were able to balance out when it came to our meetings. Another woman, Shonal, who works at Chapters International, someone I could cry to. Chris Bowman, who recently died, was my director for 9 years. And I remember the first time I went into leadership, and I thought I went from a 6th grade teacher to assistant principal, and I was talking too much because I wanted to prove I deserved this position. And I remember he called me into his office, and I thought, oh, he's going to tell me, I guess I'm doing okay. And he literally said, and I love this man. And he said, Nancy, I'm going to give you some advice as a leader. And I was like, stop talking. I'm like, he actually said kind of like, shut up, but I didn't want to say that. And I was like, what? He goes, you need to listen. Don't wait for people to stop talking. You need to listen. And you don't have to have a word about everything. And I was like, okay. And then, of course, I worked with these 3 fabulous women, Sarah, Cam, and Helen. And we're so diverse. but yet every time I'm with one of them, I think, what an incredible opportunity I have to learn from them. So each one of them gave me advice, from Patricia Hanley saying, be your authentic self when you present. If someone doesn't like it, well, that's you. Don't try to read off a script. That's not you. And then to Chris telling to me, listen. You need to listen and don't wait for people to stop. So that was the best advice that I received from my mentors. And I had several as I traveled in my career. I want you right now to think of a piece of advice that you'd be willing to share with another group of people in this session. What would be that advice that you would be willing to share? I gave you two of mine. Be your authentic self and learn to listen. Truly listen when someone's speaking. What would be your one piece of advice? As I mentioned from the start, I really want this about you meeting others. So actually, we're going into another breakout room. And what we're going to be doing is exactly what I just said. I want you to think of, first of all, that one person. And before you think about, you have your advice. And when I think about Chris and Nikki, they're such diverse people, and Pat. But if I have to think about their characteristics, I range from being totally about an honest. Chris was honest. He was really candor. That was one characteristic of what he was like. And then I had someone who was very eager to learn. Like I look at Cam, who she's the executive director, but she's always willing to learn, and with that reciprocal relationship. If you were to think about that person that gave you that advice, what would be characteristics that made that person such an effective mentor? And you'll notice that there's an icon for you to add your thoughts. And please go to the slide with the icon that says characteristics of an effective, and share what are 3 characteristics of that person or any person you felt was an effective mentor. Can you find the slide? Gabby, can you put the slide deck in one more time just in case? Maybe I'll just put it in as well, just in case you guys need it. I see many of you are on it already. And let's see what you're saying. This is what we have so far. Caring, kind, straight talker, critical thinker, knowledgeable. I'll refresh. Empowers and inspires. Challenging. Champion, love the word champion as we mentioned before. Kind. Empathetic, as you know, seems to be the most common response right now. Believes in you, embrace. And again, I suggest, imagine doing this with your own staff, doing it with colleagues that might want to start a mentoring. And what are those characteristics you're looking for in someone that can make that impact in giving advice and being support, being that shining light that was used before. Love it. Embraces silence. Yes, that's what Chris told me. I needed to stop talking. I just needed to listen. I needed to make sure people felt they were being heard. It was a very powerful thing for him to tell me. And I love that he felt that he could tell me that. Genuine. Look at these words. Wise, calm. Human touch empathy. Isn't that beautiful? Critical thinker. Insightful. Sincere. We love that sincerity. Questions. Embraces silence again. Generally cared. Non-hierarchical. Very wonderful. I'm so glad you shared these words. Again, you have access to this once we leave. So before we go, it's already 1:45. We're going to have really just, and I think this might just go down to, Abby, we're going to put it for 8 minutes, only because it's already 1:45, even though it says 10 minutes on the slide. And I want you to share that one piece of advice that you received from your mentor or several mentors. I shared 2 of mine. And you're going to go into breakout room 2. And again, I'm going to change it to 8 minutes, just so we have enough time to come back and say goodbye. And this is, oh, it was 15 minutes. Oh my goodness, we talked too much. I had 15 minutes for this. We don't have time for 15 minutes, already 1:45. Abby, let's put it, we're going to cut in half, everyone, because it's already, I should have made this session longer. We're going to make this 8 minutes, everyone, so my apologies, but it's really for sharing that advice. But Abby, let's put only 3 in a group, so those discussions, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So we're going to have 3 in a room for 8 minutes, Abby, and it's to share that piece of advice. If you want, you can go into the room and write your advice on the slide deck, so we can all hear and learn about the advice that you received from your mentor. So Abby, would you mind opening up the rooms? Wonderful. All right, everybody, I just wanted to share with you this slide is from different rooms. I wanted you to share some of the advice that was given from the idea of trusted process. Remember that change is hard. Make sure there's trust in a relationship, to consider different perspectives, and then be humble. And this was there was another one too. I love this one comment. If you're interested in leadership, go for it. A man would. Isn't that a funny one? Am I right? We think, oh, are we good enough? Are we good enough? Of course you're good enough. Do it, do it, do it. Change. So please use these. And now we're going to get down to some logistics of where you can find a mentor and why we're here. And that was one of our last objectives of what we hope to achieve with this group. The first is knowing that this is ECIS. I don't know how many of you are aware that there is an ECIS mentoring platform. How many of you are aware of that? We have Janice. I see some more people. Okay. Go to the slide deck and you will find the links. And you'll see that if you are an ECIS member school or you are an affiliate organization, all you need to do is go register. And the site works like an algorithm. So you put in your profile, and then within the base, you get connected with someone who aligns with your profile. And it works beautifully. I've been mentored, I've been a mentee all through the site. So please register, but you have to use your school email address. So we know that it is part of an ECIS membership school or affiliation. So this is one way. At the beginning of this session, someone said, I want guidelines about mentorship and how to start. That is all available for you if you scroll all the way down on supporting documentations. So if you're thinking about starting mentorship, questions for mentees, FAQs, they're all there for you. And then once you register in the platform, there's even more documentation of how you can start a mentorship program at your school, or even if you don't do mentorship at your school, how do you start doing informally at your school? This is all documentation to help you with that process. So please, I know that was a question at the start of the session. It's available for you. And then once you become registered, you'll get regular updates. There's videos, all to help you with either becoming a mentor or with mentee that you can share with others at your school. So please take advantage of this. It's absolutely worthwhile in what we're doing. This is what the registration looks like. You put in your email address. You want to be both mentee, mentored, and then you will get a notification from me saying, welcome. And then just start using that site as a way to connect, because that was one of the objectives of today, was those connections and collaborations when it comes to mentorship. And also, how do you start doing this mentorship in terms of guidelines? And that is all there for you. The other is follow ECIS on LinkedIn. We post a lot. And if you haven't followed us, please do so. And also be part of the LinkedIn group that we have for the women in education, where we are posting articles. Another idea is, any of you have an article that you want to share? That you're like, you know what, I wrote this, but I really want others to read it. Send it to me or send it to Erin or Proserpina. We can get it on our LinkedIn group. We can put it on our website. We're always looking for different perspectives and insight and the expertise you have. So don't think, oh, I don't know if they would take this. Please, we want to hear from you. This is why we are together for today. So please share your thoughts, any articles. The next session is the 21st of November, and we're looking at more about mentoring within your school. And to ask yourself, does your school have a mentoring program, either formally or informally? if it's not at your school, let's take it a step in. How do you make yourself available for people at your school or within your own PLN to say, I'm available to be a mentor? How are you doing that right now? And I give that as a provocation for you. Two networks that, as you know, that we're supporting mentorship is not only ECIS, but also Women Ed. Are people familiar with Women Ed? Okay, please, they're really strong on Twitter. They have an incredible network there as well. And many countries have their own network for Women Ed. So I don't know if anybody could do that right now. I have too many screens open. If they can put the link in for Women Ed, it's an incredible organization as well. So both of them have those resources. We do, and Women Ed. So I support both of those organizations. So think about the 21st. Maybe Erin or Proserpina will be leading that one. Each session is going to be led by a different member of the Women in Education SIG group. So the 21st, please register. And the link is also on that slide deck. And you know that because of the little icon. Lastly, those questions about mentoring at your school, think about how you can start activating that process. We already have your comments about the power of mentoring. We know it works. So now that intentionality, remember we talked about being champions, that intentionality. And what you can do after the session. Join the ECIS mentoring platform. Yes. Number 2, follow us on LinkedIn. Number 3, connect with the Women Education LinkedIn group. You can register for the 21st. So we've had an amazing group of people here and investigate, lastly, being a mentor at your school. So before we go, I'm going to stop sharing. How are we feeling right now? We've had great conversations, I hope. You've been breakout rooms for most of the session, which I love, so you don't listen to me all the time. Give me one word right now of how are you feeling? Think about that one word and we're going to put it all in the chat. How does that sound? I just want to, how are we feeling? You were able to meet different people. By the way, if you saw someone like Sally or Barbara or Estelle and you're like, oh, I love Jennifer, she was amazing. Write to them right now and say, Jennifer, Anna, Allison, I really would love your email address. I really enjoyed talking to you in the breakout room. Do it right now. You can do it as a private chat. There's Yolanda. You say, Yolanda, you are brilliant. I loved you. Go to Yolanda, write to her and say, I want your email address, Yolanda. I would really like to connect with you. So do that right now. I know I'm 1 minute past the time, but I think it's really important that you connect before we leave right now. So maybe it was Rachel, maybe it was Beatrice or Amy that you're saying, I love them. Write to them and connect right now. Private email, chat saying, I want to connect with Heather because I know she's fabulous. Okay? Are you making those connections now? Intentionality. Wonderful. All right, are we ready to share that one word? Anna, you had a question. I see Anna's hand is raised. Anna, question?
Hi, yes, Nancy, I saw in the comment, hi Nancy, I saw in the comment someone said, oh, I'm not in an ECIS school, so they feel like they can't join the mentor on the website because they're not in a, so can you not join if your school's not?
At this point, no, because I know it's part of the membership benefits.
Okay.
So the other package could be tell them to join ECIS so they get in. That's the other side. But I know that's a membership benefit for being part of. But thank you for that, Anna.
Thanks, and thank you for this session.
Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed it. You got a slide. Did we have our one word? I know I'm 2 minutes past. I hate not respecting time. On the count of 3, everybody, the one word in the chat. 1, 2, 3. Put your words in, everybody. Let's see what we have. I'm looking.
Many were
connected, inspired, rejuvenated. Yeah, I think we reached our goal. So, Proserpina or Erin, you'll be leading the next session. Woo-hoo! Yay, ladies! Before we go, I have a bit of a ritual that I have to do at the end of every session. I think most people know. You have to put your hands on the side of the panel. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I'm cheesy. Because it's a high five celebrating our learning, our connections. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, high five! We did it! Everybody, thank you We hope to see you in November for the next session. Share the slide deck, share everything. Get the word out there about mentorship. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.